Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Voters feeling watched in Plymouth Township. Police are trying to find a man they believe may be trying to intimidate people from casting ballots. Thanks for being here with us for the news at 6 o'clock. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillian. A real surveillance camera was recording when a man started installing fake cameras right near a ballot drop box. Pamela Osborne spent the day talking with township officials. This is not the kind of thing you hear about every day, Pam.
It certainly isn't. You know, I spoke with the police chief and he says in his 34 years of law enforcement, he hasn't had a case quite like this before. And while police may not know who this man is, they certainly did catch him on camera installing devices next to this ballot drop box in order to make people feel as though they were being watched.
We want to build a community of trust and kindness, and doing that just keeps us from being able to accomplish those goals.
Catherine Zari is referring to this. At first glance, the camera looks legit, but it's not. Its placement and the installation of a second device is what has local and state officials investigating.
The concern here is this individual trying to intimidate or coerce voters, and that's very concerning to us here at Plymouth Township.
Here he is in action, installing one of those fake cameras outside the ballot drop box at Risen Christ Lutheran Church on Ann Arbor Road. It happened twice, once in January and again in February ahead of the primary election.
The second time he came through, there was a device that was put on the ground that had a flashing mechanism on it, and it appeared that the mechanism would flash when the individual would pull up to the box.
Township Clerk Jerry Vorva says this is the kind of thing that sows seeds of distrust in the election system and should be a concern to clerks everywhere.
Now, the camera was fake. You know, it wasn't operative. But what was the intent? Was it to discourage people from exercising their fundamental right to vote?
They won't know for sure until they identify him and talk to him. But if that was his motivation, Chief James Nitel says the consequences are grave.
Intimidating and coercing voters can be a felony charge.
Here's another clue for you on your screen. You'll see two different cars. One is a dark colored gray or blue car. The second is a white car, which police believe is either a Nissan Leaf or a Honda Fit. These are the two vehicles that showed up around the same time that man showed up here at this church property. Now, if you know anything at all, give Plymouth Township Police a phone call. Meanwhile, one final note from the city township clerk here. He wants everyone to know that Michigan's electoral system is safe, secure, and accurate. For now, reporting live in Plymouth, I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
All right, Pamela, pretty good pictures there. We'll see if that leads us to whoever that is. We are just hours away now from opening statements in the trial of James Crumbley, the father of the Oxford school shooter.
A jury of 9 women and 6 men have been chosen to decide whether James Crumbley is guilty of involuntary manslaughter for the deaths of 4 Oxford students. Sean Lay has been watching the selection process these past couple days. Sean joins us live from the Oakland County Courthouse. Sean, good evening.
Good evening, Kimberly. Good evening, Devin. The first trial of Jennifer Crumbley was fascinating. The jury selection, fascinating. Same thing here. Jury selection took a slow, long, painstaking process, an important process. Both sides, prosecutor and defense, seemed very satisfied with this jury. It was seated late today. Let's take a look at the makeup of that jury. After more than a day and a half of painstaking but important jury selection for the involuntary manslaughter trial of the father of the Oxford school shooter, James Crumbley, prosecutors looking to hold James Crumbley responsible for the deaths of Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, Justin Schilling, Madison Baldwin, saying he bought the gun for his son, did not secure it, and did not provide ordinary care for his son, and could have foreseen this tragedy. Late today, a jury was seated by Oakland County Judge Cheryl Matthews. We were in the courtroom as every juror was picked. The jury consists of 9 women and 6 men, ages from 20s to their 60s, backgrounds like music teacher, a stay-at-home mom, a son with special needs, a graphic designer with no kids, a machinist who's 62, a retired widow, a nurse, a retired nurse, an expectant mother whose husband is a social worker, an IT specialist for Stellantis, and an engineer for the auto industry. All but 2 jurors have kids, either younger kids or adult kids. All have views on parenting and guns, most owning guns, but tell the court they have those guns locked up. back here live. So all day yesterday, jury selection up until about 3:15 today, jury selection, and this jury was selected and seated. So off and running we go for the James Crumbley trial. The Judge Matthews here telling the jurors to be here 8:30 sharp tomorrow morning. She says she wants to get going with opening statements right away. Live in Oakland County, Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
And we will be following it. Sean, thank you. Tomorrow morning, our Christy McDonald will kick off our live stream of the trial over on Local 4 Plus. To get it, you can scan the QR code right there on the bottom left hand of your screen and stream the coverage right to your phone. We'll send out a push alert when the trial gets underway tomorrow morning with opening statements.
For the second day, crews were again at Goose Select Distribution Center in Clinton Township as they attempt to determine what caused that huge fire and the series of explosions that left a person dead. They were also working to determine if anyone is at fault for this tragedy. Police looked to do follow-up interviews with other business owners today, but we are told the owner did not make himself available to investigators, at least not yet. Township officials say the owner was operating a backdoor warehouse that should not have been there.
2 businesses were authorized to be in that building. They were commercial businesses. That it is not an industrial building. It wasn't built to have the kind of materials that you saw explode out of there.
Now, state records show the owner's name is Nur Kestu of Commerce Township. We attempted to get a hold of him today to ask what he thinks about the investigation, but apparently, like police, we're unable to reach him.
Police search a pond in Clinton Township in connection to the disappearance of 13-year-old Naziah Harris. DPD and state police spent a few hours at the pond near the intersection of Gratiot Avenue and Quinn Road. Sky 4, you see there, was overhead for most of the search, and it did not appear investigators found anything. Naziah was last seen January 9th when she got off a school bus at Cornwall Street and 3 Mile Drive. Anyone with information about her disappearance is asked to call DPD or Crime Stoppers.
A former high-ranking law enforcement official avoids jail time for assaulting a teenager while off duty. 57-year-old Michael Ticini was the public safety director of Bay City. That changed in September of 2022 after he confronted some teenagers riding electric scooters in the parking lot of his apartment complex. Cheney flashed his badge and threatened the teens with physical violence, also saying he would arrest them. Then he hit one of the teens in the chest with the butt of his flashlight. Well, this week he entered a plea of no contest to assault and battery. The plea deal requires Cheney to surrender his Michigan police certification and complete an anger management class. Vaccines have saved countless people from deadly infections, of course, by training our own immune system to fight unwelcome invaders.
Well, now they're being used to fight a different type of invader. We're talking about cancer. Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a look at the future of cancer vaccines.
The idea of a vaccine to harness a person's own immune system to fight cancer, that's been in the works for decades. Unfortunately, though, progress has been slow because cancer isn't only one disease, but there have been advancements falling in distinct categories. Dr. Amy Weesey is a medical oncologist at Henry Ford Health.
There are, in general, 3 types of cancer vaccines. There are prevention vaccines, therapeutic or treatment-related vaccines, and then vaccines aimed at preventing cancer recurrence.
Let's break down each vaccine type.
The cancer prevention vaccines are more like standard vaccines against a virus.
The most notable examples are the HPV and hepatitis B vaccines. Infection with both of these viruses is associated with an increased risk of cancer. Next are the therapeutic or treatment vaccines.
The goal of that type of vaccine is to try and get the patient's immune system to attack the cancer itself.
These vaccines are custom made in a lab using a sample of the patient's actual tumor and the same mRNA technology used to make the first COVID vaccines. Right now, this process takes 2 weeks to months, but Dr. Weesey sees the technology evolving.
In the future, hopefully every hospital will be able to take the patient's tumor, run the sequence, and do it, within days.
Once you're treated for cancer, there's always a concern about recurrence or cells that may have escaped to other parts of the body. That's where preventative vaccines come in.
These types of vaccines are aimed at again, stimulating the immune system to go after those microscopic cells that somewhere down the road may come back and be a more advanced or stage 4 situation.
Now, you might wonder if one day there might be a generic vaccine against breast cancer or lung cancer. Well, Dr. Wiese doesn't think that's very likely because every cancer is really very unique in terms of how the immune system needs to be trained to attack it. These therapies are incredibly personalized to each individual, and that's really the state of the art. Treatment that is unique to every individual's situation. Back to you.
Okay, Dr. McGeorge, we appreciate that. Let's take a live look outside over downtown Detroit. The clouds pretty much hung around all day today. We didn't really see too much sunshine.
And cooled off a little bit, but still nothing close to normal for this time of year. Let's check in with Kim Adams for more. Kim?
No, we're a good 5-6 degrees above where we should be for this time of year. It would have been nice to see a little more of the sun today. We will see some tomorrow, but our temps have struggled. 44 in Detroit, 43 in Howell, 43 in Pontiac. Mid to upper 40s down in Adrian, and it's already down to 39 in Sandusky and Port Huron. You folks just dropped down to 37. So very chilly up into the thumb. Add to it all those clouds, and it is definitely a cooler night than we've been used to. But out to the west, it's been beautiful today. Grand Rapids had sunshine, Mount Pleasant, up to Traverse City and Alpena. I mean, a really distinct clearing line there that's just getting into parts of Livingston County now. So the sun is popping out in Howell, but it's still cloudy even in Brighton and over into parts of Oakland County. So the sun's going to set at 6:30. So that's going to be about it for us. But tomorrow we will see that sun and our high will reach 49 degrees. But we have to talk about some rain for the weekend that could affect your plans, and we'll do that coming up.